I was one of the lucky few who got to compete in the first Rivals 2 tournament that was open to the public. Rivals 2 is a game I have been looking forward to ever since it was first announced. As a huge fan of the first Rivals of Aether game, having the chance to compete in the next installment was incredibly exciting for me. Rivals 2 is a game being released by Aether Studios later this year. At Genesis X, an alpha build of the game was part of the tournament lineup, but it was capped at 256 entrants. I was on the fence on whether or not I could afford a trip to Genesis, but after seeing that the tweet was only an hour old, I knew I had to be there. On the lead up to Genesis, I did everything I could to prepare for the new game. I watched live streams whenever possible, learned as much about the characters as I could, and grinded Rivals of Aether 1. Finally, after a 13-hour drive, I was able to make it to San Jose, California, and play Rivals 2 in person. Rivals 2, to me, feels like a much closer game to Smash Bros. Than it does Rivals of Aether 1. Mechanics such as shields and ledges significantly affect the game. However, Rivals 2 adds some new twists to the formula that make it feel brand new. When you grab your opponent, you can either choose to have a guaranteed throw, or you can pummel them. If you pummel, you have two options pressing either A or B. Neutral pummel will deal 8% one time, or you can do a special pummel, which is unique for each character. However, if the opponent presses the same button you do, the grab is broken. Each character also has a special get-up attack, which is unique to them. These additions to the platform fighter genre are incredibly inspired, feel like they should have been there from the beginning. Other mechanics such as hip falling and the brilliant character design lends Rivals 2 a unique feeling that I've never experienced in a platform fighter before. Needless to say, I was hooked. I initially wanted to main Fleet in Rivals 2. I love her design, and my Rivals 1 secondary Pom was similar to her. Look at her, she's so cute! However, when I got to the venue, I found out that they had just announced two more characters in Clarin and Loxodon. Clarin was my first main in Rivals of Aether and felt incredible in Rivals 2. However, what surprised me the most was how much I clicked with the newest character, Loxodon. In the distant future, Loxodon becomes the immortal emperor of the world, and Clarin is sent in the past to kill him while he is still mortal. Loxodon is kind of like if Ganondorf, King Dedede, and Ike were combined together and became a top tier. My plans of maining Fleet for the tournament were shattered by my newfound love for Loxodon. As soon as I was done competing in Smash Bros, I went and played on every Rivals 2 setup I could find. I studied the game and my new main. Loxodon is a character that encourages you to stand your ground. Lots of Loxodon's moveset will create a rupture on the ground that will erupt after a second. If I stand in the magma, Loxodon will begin to glow. This is stored until you expend a charge as part of using other moves. Smash attacks will be empowered, and your down special can be used for movement and combos. You can store up to 3 charges, at which point Loxodon will be fully covered in magma. Loxodon is fast, hits hard, and was a brand new character nobody knew how to fight. My whole gimmick is about picking up brand new characters, so let's see how I do in the brand new game. My first round was against a player named Rivers, who was maining Zetterburn. I'm playing really bad in the first game, and can't find a kill to save my life. I'm really far behind in Game 2, and know I need to make a huge comeback, so I make a crazy play, and end up taking the lead, and eventually the game. In the final game, I maintain my momentum, and have a commanding lead. But Rivers lands an all-in spike on me to take the set, knocking me into loser's bracket. I then had to fight Brug Gaming, a Clarin player. By now I've warmed up, and I 3-stock her Game 1, and then JV3 her in Game 2. It looks like Clarin failed in her mission of bringing down the Emperor. Snek was my next opponent and was a Rano main. Loxodon can edgeguard Rano using his massive aerials, which is enough for me to take Game 1. In Game 2, I'm playing on fire, and accrue a massive lead, which eventually ends up with me taking the game. Up next was Damn Daniel, another Clarin player. I can't let a Clarin stop my run, so I 3-stock him Game 1. I unfortunately lose a stock in Game 2, but it doesn't matter as I quickly clean up the set. Finally, I got to fight Refrain, a Rano main. In Game 1, I start off playing really hot, but after getting a little too creative in my edgeguard, Refrain nearly brings it back. I'm able to take Game 1, but he wins Game 2 with a sick confirm. By Game 3, he has the download on me and is able to take the set, ending my Genesis run. I ended up placing 65th out of 256 people, which I'm incredibly happy with. I think Loxodon is a cool character, and Rivals 2 is an amazing game. Even though top 8 may have been a better day for Crag mains,
Well played. You're so good.
Oh,
good.
man.
Well played, bro.
He's talking.
You're so good.
He didn't get cheese this time. He didn't even get cheese this
Why are
time,
they
bro.
cheering for me now? They were booing me the whole time. Now they're cheering for me. Fuck you guys. Like,
Crag.
no, okay, fine.
Oh, bro. All right,
I still think this game is in an incredible state, especially considering it's an alpha build. Rivals 2 releases this fall, and I can't wait until I get the chance to play this game again. And if you are excited for Rivals 2, like this video and subscribe to the channel to be here when I have the chance to make more content about this game. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on Tuesday.